Hello and welcome. Thank you for sharing a few minutes with me. In this video, we have our most fun topic to discuss, the audit. And I hope that by the end of the video, you are motivated to schedule a call to explore what working together might look like. Let's talk about how to control an annual audit or a required quarterly review. I'm going to guess your chest starts to tighten as you hear the dreaded, "We're waiting on the auditor." That phrase sounds reasonable, but you fear things are now outside of your control. Or even worse, if nobody on your side of the table is tracking the open requests, the owner, the due date, the next follow up, you are left just waiting. You are drifting. And drifting is how a straightforward audit request turns into a closing bottleneck and missed deadlines. When a deadline does not move, your business faces a serious erosion of credibility and stakeholder confidence. I'm Kenneth Brimmer, Brimmer Company, and I work with companies at every stage of growth. Businesses managing a monthly close, companies preparing for a capital raise or ownership transition, and finance teams navigating the outside audit process who need a cleaner, more efficient structure, real discipline, and accountability before critical deadlines are missed. In more than 40 years of financial work as a preparer, a presenter, a board and audit committee member, and the person sitting on the other side of the desk, one pattern shows up consistently. The accounting team often does exactly what it was trained to do. I'm sure your debits equal your credits. I'm sure your trial balance is in balance. You're confident that all the trees are fine. But what you don't know is the forest is on fire. The last mile of the process, closing out an outside audit, is not always in your team's wheelhouse. If this is the case, you can retain help at the front end or pay a multiple of that cost in higher audit and legal fees at the back end. Before we dig in, let me address the elephant on the horizon: artificial intelligence. AI is being embedded in the audit process at most major firms. Transaction testing that once relied on sampling is increasingly done across an entire population. That means documentation quality, the books you're starting with, matters more than ever, not less. If your support is clean, the process gets faster. If it's not, the flags come earlier and the questions may get harder. Instead of a more efficient audit, you are now mired in detailed questions you may not have faced in the past. And bottom line is, I assure you, when it comes to AI, independent auditors are not waiting for you to catch up. Where I see time getting lost in the audit process, it's basically the result of poor communication in the form of follow up with the auditor. Not because the auditor is always the problem, but requests are not tracked tightly enough on the company side. What may have happened, and this is critical, is that the company may have ceded control to the timetable of the outside auditors. Review cycles stretch, leadership questions pile up, and management gets pulled off the job of running the business and now has to focus on getting the audit done. Here's my view. Working with an outside audit firm is more art than science. And I say this after more than 4 decades on both sides of the table. The audit team, as you, I'm sure, are aware, is not a single person. They don't speak necessarily with one voice. It's a structure: the staff and senior, the manager, the engagement partner, and ultimately a quality review partner who needs to sign off before you get your report. Each professional has different responsibilities, different priorities, and a different sense of what done looks like. Unfortunately, even within the same firm, at least in the early going, the players may have different views on proper gap treatment and on what is material, and what is not. Here's the not so unspoken reality of the current audit firm environment. The client service model as it once exists is largely gone. Audit firms today are focused primarily on their own regulatory audiences, the PCAOB, the review board, the quality control function at their own firm. In fact, some firms take the position that even weighing in on a technical question is not permitted. You go figure it out. It threatens their independence and could lead to a PCAOB issue. Your team may have no one to turn to for technical accounting guidance. And all too often, you may think you have reached the finish line only to receive a fresh round of comments from a quality review partner, someone who is coming into the file fresh and sees it as their job to find something to comment on. That is reality. It's not a complaint. It's just the environment you are managing. So, what typically happens? A request, often a list of requests, goes out. Everyone assumes things are being handled. Follow up is often friendly and informal. A few emails, a quick mention on a call. Then, late in the process, the auditor comes back asking for support, clarification, or an updated schedule. The finance team becomes frustrated. They thought it was done. The auditor is frustrated. They, in their view, are still waiting. Leadership is frustrated because the timetable is tightening. You are now squarely in reaction mode. The issue is probably not, and most certainly not, incompetence on the part of your team. The issue was that nobody had a clean, aggressive system for tracking the request. Who owns it, when it's due, whether it has been submitted, and critically, whether the auditor has confirmed and has accepted the work that's been submitted. Or more commonly, there is a system in place. It was just not properly utilized. It got stressful due to poor communication and a lack of clear accountability, which led to the work starting too late or the work just not being done to the satisfaction of the outside accountants. Okay, here's the reframe. Auditor follow-up's not a passive activity. Aggressive, disciplined tracking while maintaining ownership of the process is the only path through. And that tracking should not live in email boxes and email messages, text messages. It should live in a system. You can build a structure early, create the process, even when the first requests come in, or even in working with the auditors to build the requests. The prior audit, of course, is the roadmap. That's how auditors approach it, and that's how you should approach it. Here's a 4-step process for addressing the issue. Step 1, write every request clearly. Many firms use tools like SureLink or a similar audit request platform that are really quite good at providing a structured roadmap of open items. If your firm uses one, you need to live in it, check it, work from it. Do not manage audit requests from memory or from a special spreadsheet or from a listing of emails. Whatever system you use, and generally this is a system the auditors are going to be using, be sure the request is written in plain English, not vague shorthand. Not revenue support. Instead, provide Q2 revenue recognition support for the top 10 customers. The devil is in the detail, and that's what's important in putting these to-do lists together. Clarity at the front end eliminates back and forth that costs you time at the worst moment. Assign one owner per request. Every request needs one clear person responsible for making sure it moves. Not just accounting, not finance, not we're working on it. One person with their names on it. If 3 people own something, nobody owns it. Set an internal deadline before the auditor's deadline. And this is critical because oftentimes you have no control as to how soon things will get back from the auditors. Every request needs a due date, and ideally an internal due date that is earlier than the auditor's actual due date. Often, it should be always. If the auditor needs something by Friday, your internal due date should not be Friday. The buffer is not a luxury. It is a difference between maintaining control of the process with a clean submission and a last-minute scramble that opens the door to errors. Track the status. Step 4, track the status with simple, visible language. Use a status system that anyone can read at a glance. Not started, in progress, submitted, under auditor review, return for clarification, and finally 3, closed and accepted. Then you know the work is done when you have that final message. Note that submitted and closed are not the same thing. An item is not closed until the auditor has confirmed it is accepted. This distinction matters more than most teams realize. Early in the process, schedule a video with the entire team. Go through the request list item by item. This gives leadership real visibility without a long meeting, and this keeps the audit from moving into suspended animation while you wait for a response that may not be coming. Flag escalation items before they become emergencies. This is the part most teams miss. Not every open request carries the same risk. Some are only minor. Some may be immaterial. Some can slow the entire process if they stall. If a request is unresolved, dependent on one person tied to a major account balance before the disclosure can begin. If it needs to be flagged early and escalated, on a pre-agreed schedule. Escalation should not be emotional or reactive. It should be built into the process, a pre-agreed upon trigger, not a last-minute judgment call under pressure. When auditor requests are tracked clearly and followed up on aggressively, when your team owns the process, Your team owns it, not the auditors. The closing process feels completely different. Less chasing because ownership is explicit. Less confusion because status is visible to everyone. Less, I thought that was handled because closed means confirmed. Financial reporting is driving, your financial reporting team is driving the process, not reacting to it. In my next video, I'll share a simple request tracker template you can use to keep requests, owners, deadlines, and follow-ups organized before they slow down your close. And if you think you might like a second set of eyes on your process, whether you're managing a monthly close, preparing for a capital raise, or an ownership transition, or you just simply want a clear picture of where your risk is at, I am prepared to meet you where you are and explore the range of solutions from detailed bookkeeping support to the highest level review. Want to explore what that might look like? You can schedule a confidential strategy call at brimmercompany.com. I'm Kenneth Brimmer. Let's talk. Thanks for watching.